As an agency whose mission is to prevent death, illness, and injury from mining and promote safe and healthful workplaces for miners, MSHA must also ensure the safety and health of its own employees. MSHA has established medical qualifications and a medical evaluation program to ensure that employees and applicants are able to perform the essential duties of their position without endangering the health and safety of themselves or others. Medical standards apply to all positions determined to be arduous or hazardous, that is, those positions that are dangerous and physically demanding to a degree that an employee's medical or physical condition is important to ensuring the safe and efficient performance of the essential duties. This generally includes all mine safety and health inspector positions and positions that regularly enter the mine site in the performance of their duties. MSHA's medical program includes the evaluation process, which begins with a medical examination, then followed by an individualized assessment for individuals who do not meet one or more medical standards or have been diagnosed with other medical issues that may pose a risk to themselves or others. Steve Roby, MSHA's Director of Human Resource and Individual Assessment Program Manager, will now provide you with additional information regarding the individualized assessment process.
The individual assessment process gives employees additional consideration by evaluating the medical standard that was failed against a specific position, working conditions, environment, and other relevant issues to determine whether the employee can perform the duties safely to themselves and others. This individual assessment process begins after the medical review officer has received all medical documentation and made the determination that the employee has failed a standard. The medical review officer is a doctor who is contracted by MSHA. Please note, it is very important to provide the additional information the MRO requests, including going for additional testing if necessary. Here's a copy of the report to employer. That's sent to the management team, but it does not have any detailed medical information on it. The other copy is a report to employee. It does have relevant detailed medical information on it to help notify the employee what standard is failed and why. The individual assessment team is going to determine whether you, the employee, can perform the duties of the position even though you have failed the medical standards and still remain safe to yourself and others. If so, a waiver will be issued for that specific failed standard. If the individual assessment team determines that the employee can't perform the duty safely, a disqualification letter will be sent to the employee. Here's a copy of that disqualification letter. The disqualification letter will outline the next steps in the medical disqualification process. The letter will outline 4 options you'll need to choose from and choose those options within 14 calendar days. First option is reconsideration. This is when you have additional information or documentation to support the request. An example would be you went and got additional testing or a doctor's statement stating that you can perform the job without restrictions. Second option is a request for reasonable accommodation. An example would be if you're an underground coal inspector and you wear hearing aids to meet the medical standards, a reassignment to a surface inspector may be an option. Third options include retirement options. This may be regular or disability retirement. And the fourth option is separation. You may want to voluntarily separate from the federal service. If you choose not to select an option or an option cannot be accommodated, then you may be removed from federal service. I hope the additional information that Nancy presents during the training answers all your questions, but if not, feel free to call the Office of Employee Safety and Health or Human Resources Department for more information.
Hi, my name is Nancy Messina and I'm from the Human Resources Division at the Mine Safety and Health Administration's headquarters in Arlington, Virginia. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the individualized assessment process that's part of our medical review program. Our agenda is going to cover the basics of the medical review program, as well as the individualized assessment process, what happens when somebody is found to be medically disqualified, what are your options, and what are MSHA's medical standards as they relate to the individualized assessment process. How do we deal with applicants during that same process? I'm also going to talk a little bit about the MSHA hearing conservation program, some resources that you can refer to, as well as some frequently asked questions will be provided at the end of the briefing. Basically, MSHA has a medical review program because employees must be physically fit and able to perform arduous and hazardous duties in their position and remain safe and perform them efficiently without posing significant risk to themselves or to others. Arduous or hazardous duties are dangerous or physically demanding to a degree that an employee's medical and physical condition must be evaluated to ensure the safe and efficient performance of the position's essential duties. Employees who perform regular duties in mines are subject to MSHA's medical standards. With regard to hearing, no more than 40 decibel hearing loss in either ear at specific frequencies is permitted. Use of hearing aids are allowed during hearing tests. However, there are no hearing aids approved for use in mines where permissible equipment is required. Vision, 20/40 or better in each eye, with or without glasses or contact lenses. Standards for near vision, depth perception, peripheral vision, and color vision also apply. Additionally, general health factors such as pulmonary, respiratory, heart, and lung functionality are also tested. Other health issues are covered in the MSHA Administrative Policy and Procedures Manual. MSHA's medical review program also includes an annual audiogram as well as a physical exam every 3 years. That's the part that includes vision and other health factors. The annual physical exam is required for all mine rescue team members. Additional physical exams may be required if medical issues arise. Generally, MSHA pays the cost of all physical exams, audiograms, and medical tests that are required under the medical review program. This slide shows the medical review and the individualized assessment process in flow chart format. Above the red line is the responsibility of the Office of Employee Safety and Health, which will result in either you're cleared to work or you fail to meet the standards. If you fail to meet the standards, you drop down below the red line where the Human Resources Division takes over and conducts the individualized assessment. The individualized assessment will result in either you're cleared to work, you're cleared to go back to work with a waiver, or you're not cleared. If you're not cleared and you're medically disqualified, there are 4 options that each employee will have. The Office of Employee Safety and Health's responsibilities are to inform the employee of the results of the review of the medical exam by MSHA's medical review officer. They also inform the employee and the appropriate program management official if the employee met medical standards. The Office of Employee Safety and Health may also ask you for additional medical documentation if it's requested by the medical review officer. Please keep in mind that your failure as an employee to respond to that information request in a timely manner may result in disciplinary action. Then the Office of Employee Safety and Health will also inform the program management officials if you have failed to meet medical standards, and the process continues to work through to the individualized assessment. During this time, you may be placed on a light duty assignment. Once you fall into the individualized assessment process, the Human Resources Division takes over. They inform the employee, the program management official, if a waiver has been granted. They also tell the employee, the program management officials, if you're not cleared, in other words, you're medically disqualified. And they also inform the employee of the options that they have if they're medically disqualified. When an employee doesn't meet medical standards, MSHA conducts the individualized assessment to determine if the employee can still perform the essential functions of the job with or without a reasonable accommodation and without posing a direct threat to themselves or to others. The individualized assessment is conducted by subject matter experts and MSHA employees familiar with mine conditions. All medical records are completely sanitized. All personally identifiable information is redacted for privacy and anonymity of the employee. Subject matter experts review the relevant medical records, the position description, the work environment, and working conditions, and reach a consensus. Medical professionals are also consulted if necessary. The individualized assessment process results in 3 different outcomes. The first one is cleared. The IA team finds that the applicable medical standards are met and the employee is cleared for duty. The second option is that a waiver is issued and the individualized assessment team recommends that a waiver be issued for a specific medical standard and the employee is cleared for duty. Keep in mind that a waiver is for a specific medical condition addressing a specific medical standard, and a waiver is valid until the next physical exam or audiogram. If no change in medical condition, a waiver may be extended to the next physical or the next audiogram. The third option is that you're not cleared, and the IA team finds that the employee poses a significant risk of substantial harm, a direct threat to him or herself and/or others, and the employee is medically disqualified. When you're medically disqualified, there are 4 options. The first one is reconsideration. An employee may provide additional documentation relating to the findings in the individualized assessment. The second outcome is reasonable accommodation. An employee can request reasonable accommodation, which could include a reassignment. And the third outcome is voluntary retirement, disability retirement, or discontinued service retirement. Fourth is voluntary separation, also known as resignation. If no option is requested, available, and approved, an employee may be removed from government service. Applicants are also subject to MSHA's medical standards. An applicant with a tentative job offer must undergo a pre-placement physical prior to their final job offer, and failure to provide timely additional medical documentation if requested may result in the withdrawal of a job offer. Applicants who don't meet medical standards also go through the individualized assessment process, and they also may request a reasonable accommodation. A job offer will be withdrawn if the individualized assessment process determines that the applicant is medically disqualified and there is no reasonable accommodation available. All employees who are exposed to mining environments are automatically enrolled in the Hearing Conservation Program. Noise exposure on the job is evaluated, and a baseline and follow-up audiometric testing is required. Hearing protection devices are provided, and additional training is also provided on the Hearing Conservation Program. You can refer to the Administrative Program and Policy Manual, Volume 2, Chapter 400, Section 429. Thank you very much for your time and attention to this very important subject, and please refer to the PowerPoint presentation for additional resources, including some frequently asked questions.